This episode will be discussing Park City's future, luxury development with Jonathan Crosswhite.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, did a little research on here, Jonathan. So, got a little thing here. You tell me how we're doing. It says, from quarterbacking the Utah Utes to helping develop some of Park City's most dynamic mixed-use communities, Jonathan Crosswhite brings a combination of vision, grit, and financial knowledge to the world of luxury real estate.
Well, I try. That's a lot.
That's a lot. So let's see here. Jonathan has participated in more commercial transactions than any other real estate agent in the area, including Heber City, Camas Valley, and the greater Park City area.
Yeah, and that would be commercial sales.
Okay. Well, transaction.
I don't want to confuse that with like leasing and stuff, but yes, for sales and transactions, yes. Yeah. There's going to be people out there that will challenge that.
So let's clarify that a little bit. You're kind of the big dog in this commercial space. I mean, I think there's a lot. I guess define what is that difference between commercial real estate in Park City versus, everybody else doing residential.
I'd say the landscape here in Park City, I could be off, but let's just say there's 1,100 licensed real estate agents in the Wasatch Back. 98% of them are residential realtors. The other small percentage left are commercial brokers. A lot of commercial agents tend to lean on the lease side, the lease world of things. You don't really see a whole lot of commercial brokers on the sales transaction side or on the development side where I tend to be most of the time.
Great. So let's see here. So obviously you're one of the standout agents at Christie's International Real Estate. You're not just selling, not just selling Park City. You're helping shape the future, I believe, of Park City with what you've been doing in the commercial. You've been associated with some of the most sought after projects, including Park East 1, 2, and 3, Mountain View Commons, kind of redefining what it means to build with luxury with a purpose in Park City. So kind of talk about, how you kind of got put into those types of projects like the flex space. I think everybody's heard a little bit about the Park East projects in Park City, Mountain View Commons over in the Heber Valley. Kind of go into what those projects are, what the use cases are, a lot of the challenges that you've seen.
Yeah. So going way back, I'd say 2016, 2017 era, I landed here at Park East 2. Didn't really have a clue what I was doing at the time. Park East 2, Park East 3, it's like that cold storage owner who's constantly kicking people out that are working out of their cold storage units, which is prohibited. Also, believe it or not, people living in the units and so forth. So where the Park East 1, 2, and 3 vision came about was, hey, let's give them everything. Let's blend in the residential, the commercial, the retail, the office use, the industrial, warehouse space, all in one spot. Kind of like the 4C Group.
Nice.
The one-stop shop.
The Swiss Army knife.
So having like a Swiss Army knife type product like that, you cater to a wide range of users, buyers, and so forth. The flex space here in the Wasatch Back has taken off faster than we anticipated. There's that old saying, everyone wants what they can't have. And what I mean by that is, my flex space developments sit in usually like a service commercial light industrial zone. And everyone always asks, how'd you get residential approved? That's kind of something I'm not willing to share, but it's definitely an option, and you can do it. When you have a development that has over 40 plus permitted uses, you really are casting a big net to the market out there. Everyone's going to have a use or a need for some of our space. But yeah, so we've Park East 1, 2, and 3. We're now into Heber. We've got a couple zoning challenges here in Summit County for our product. Well, for a lot of products, to be honest with you. You've got two big heartburns here in town. Employee housing, call it affordable housing, fair housing, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely a need, and it's starting to sprinkle into certain zones with land that we do have available and left here in Summit County. So you'll see, I've got 3 developments in Heber City, one in Francis and one in Camas right now.
All flex use, mixed commercial. What's the
majority of them are the work, live, play product. I do have one at Commons at Wasatch Springs, which is just retail, restaurant, and office use. In the Wasatch Back, I keep referring to the Wasatch Back, we are so focused and driven on residential development, with the Olympics coming in 2032 or 2034, which one is it?
2034.
2034. We're not set up. We're not even anywhere close for that.
Yeah, I think we were talking one day, and you were talking about a stat that I can't remember if it was commercial leads residential, or once there's a certain amount of residential, the need for commercial.
Yeah,
and we're not even close to what
number is. Like if you go back to 2020 COVID March era, roughly right about 2021, middle of the year, I would say Wasatch Back had their residential boom. It was not planned, but historically, if you go back and look over the last 40, 60 years, you'll see that commercial tends to trail. They have their own little boom.
Okay, so commercial's
4.5 to 5 years
gotcha.
behind the residential boom. Ironically, we have the Olympics coming. We've got more than just a boom coming. We've got a need. We need more commercial services and property in the Wasatch Back. It's not even a question.
So what's that number? What are you seeing? What's existing? The developments. I know you're currently working on some other new developments. How much more commercial need do you see happening in the Wasatch Back?
A big need. There's a lot in the Wasatch Back right now. The opportune zones and places for development. Really, Park City it's a tough hill to climb, and that comes from a zoning and a permitting standpoint, because there's all these other needs that are ahead of any kind of development, like affordable housing, and then we have a traffic crisis. Yeah. That's got to get ironed out too before the Olympics, and it has to happen. Prospector here in Park City is kind of traditionally known as the business corridor for Park City. It's old. The problem that Prospector has is there's not enough parking to support the structure that's existing. Parking dictates what you can build.
We know parking is a big issue. So I'm trying to think back, and I don't know if this was the first time we met, but this was when we were just thinking about joining I was 4C Architecture back in the day, and then we merged 3 years ago to be the 4C Group, which is inclusive of architecture, interior designers, and our construction team. And we were trying to find a space in Park City that we could put all our people in, right? And I think we met first over at Park East 2 when that was under construction, and we looked at putting one of those units under contract. And I mean, the great thing about that at the time was that was something you could buy, you could own it as a business owner, you weren't leasing it, and you got to do the TI build out however you wanted.
Yeah.
Right? I think to me that was the big appeal. Ultimately, we ended up not putting that unit under contract, but you and I became pretty good friends through that, talked a lot about, what we do. You obviously as an agent. And I would say, like, for us, one of our main core values is collaboration. I think that this is kind of where we ended up today with Unit 55, was kind of just starting that conversation with you as a real estate agent, you having that expert knowledge in the commercial business, understanding everything. And you kind of put us together with the original developers of Park East 2, and then come to find out, hey, Park East 3 is going to be on the lot next door. Said, hey, I'm an architect. We have a construction team. Why don't you put us together? Maybe since this unit in Park East 2 didn't work out, hey, maybe we can facilitate something in Park East 3, because we actually needed something bigger. And I would say through, your contacts and what we do, we were able to come together. We kind of made a development deal where we were able to kind of purchase our pad where we're sitting in right now, unit 55, able to build this 12,000 square foot facility to house all the 4C group. And then as we build out, we realized, hey, we may not have enough parking for our team here. Reached out to you. We kind of brainstormed some ideas. We're like, hey, we kind of know that this lot across the street might be for sale. Let's purchase that. That way we ensure our value for this. We're able to park, we've done a couple iterations on that right now. And, the first thing was maybe we just built a pure parking lot. We've kind of landed on parking lot and putting some additional structure or use on it. And well, back to collaboration. And hey, Jonathan, we need about 60 parking stalls, but we still have some extra space on this lot. What should we do with it? We're here. We don't need another building for ourselves. Should we throw up some more 30 by 60 units?
Yeah.
Kind of your response was like, no, let's kind of think about this a little bit more. What can we do? How can we enhance the neighborhood? How can we do something a little more luxury? Kind of solve some of the issues that we've seen from Parkies 2 and 3. And once again, to your knowledge of the area and all the commercial developments happening, you put me in contact, or I should say we had a meeting with the owner of the warehouse.
Right.
Now we're doing a collaboration with the warehouse on lot 12. We're going to have 4 super high-end luxury, spaces for car collectors.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, like, what a story, right?
I bet most people think the C stands for collaboration. I know it's corners.
Four corners of a table.
But really, collaboration is just as important as your 4 corners, and we'll get into that in a second. But your group is super sophisticated, so it makes my job a lot easier when a group your size and with the departments that you have. Your transition here at this park, if you were not involved and it wasn't your group, it would have made my job a lot harder.
Yeah.
And being proactive and thinking about, ahead. I think the other thing you didn't mention that we did do during that is knowing your audience, know who your neighbors are, identifying like where the heartburn is in the area. Here in the Park City Business Corridor here, center, where, I don't know, there's probably 5 or 6, 7 developments here and off Forestdale Drive, is parking. Parking, I hate to bring it up again, but that is a sore subject here. There's not enough. I believe, and I'm sure the county will probably see this or hear it, but if they had it their way, they'd want us to roller skate to work every day.
I think I would say that's a fair assessment because I would say that's a fair assessment for where Summit County's been in the past. And I don't think you can necessarily blame everybody, but what is kind of funny is when you go to look up the zoning and the ordinance of the parking ordinance, it actually has a maximum parking, not a minimum.
Not
parking,
a minimum. Yeah,
right?
You go to Wasatch County down 15 minutes down the road, they have a minimum requirement.
Yep.
Never heard of a maximum before until.
There's a max.
Yeah.
But I think everybody evolves, and I think lessons have been learned. I think everybody's trying to do something better. We're trying to do a much better development on lot 12, and I think as people continue to develop, we understand all those pain points, and I think that's what this collaboration is about. It's about utilize one of our core values: professionals serving professionals. Right? You're a professional real estate agent. We're professional architects, designers, contractors. So all working together, and this is, one of the focuses of this podcast is, what is the future of Park City? What is the Park City lifestyle? I think, we all want this to be a better place, and we all believe in Park City. And so I think that's a common vision that you see within all this professional community of developers and agents and contractors and architects and designers. And I think one of the other things that you do that you talk to me quite a bit about is also, helping entitle those properties, right? Not only like just, the agent just, hey, they have a properties for sale. You're kind of in it from the beginning. And sometimes even just finding that raw land, helping create that vision. And I would say even, you're almost going out once you see that and bringing developers to that property.
Yeah. A lot of, I will say, I used to just chase listings like hardcore. And I kind of figured out the more you learn about the zoning in the area, the entitlement work really for me, I started out doing in the entitlement world. And I figured out real quick, that's not what everyone likes to do. That's the hard stuff.
Yeah, that's the nitty gritty, getting your hands dirty.
Yeah. And
takes a lot of time.
Yeah. And there's a lot of out-of-state investor groups that watch the counties and cities' agendas for planning commission meetings and so forth. And they wait for people like me to get things approved. And then that's when they come in and they start making calls to, see if there's a way. They just hang around the hoop.
But that's a lot of value creation, right?
Yeah, and it naturally leads into listings. It naturally leads into, there's a few developments where I am playing the developer role as well. My goal is to like know the development better than the developer. You have to.
That's,
you have to.
I think that's being a, professional real estate
agent.
agent.
It takes you wear a lot of hats, but you get used to it. And I think the more you can share with clients, the better, because you're just building more confidence in them. And I had this thought coming over here today, and it's, if I go into a listing interview or a meeting, I always ask myself afterwards, did I say the right things? Did they understood what I said? Are they going to remember what I said? Or are they going to remember how I made them feel?
Yeah. Just like this podcast when we're done.
I already know how I'm going to feel.
hey, it's fun, but I think that's a great point.
But that is they do kind of go hand in hand. I was talking to Molly about it earlier too. And, her take is, I think that's kind of not a loaded question, but they do kind of go hand in hand. But I do think it's important. I would much rather have a client feel good than remember everything that I had said or agree with everything I said. I'd rather have them feel good about our meeting in general.
Yeah. And that's one thing that we talk about a lot, and it's one of, it's one of our passions at the 4C group is we talk a lot about the luxury client experience, right?
Yeah.
And, it's sometimes I think that's one of those things where I think you just define that for yourself. And I think everybody, I want to provide a luxury client experience to my client. And that's for me, it's like, from the architecture standpoint, from my background, that's helping people taking, from what's in their head, their dream, their vision. And I can take that, help facilitate that through the design and the architecture of their home, produce that. But now at the 4C group, we can take that all the way through by setting clear expectations, a very frictionless process. We're able to take that and give, ideally like schedule, costs, quality, right? All those things are a client luxury experience. And sometimes when people hear the word luxury, you automatically think it's about expensive things. I don't think that's what it's about at all. I think you go to Chick-fil-A, which I think those guys have these, your expectations are set, right? And you have this experience where it's very frictionless, right? It's a great experience and everybody knows their role and their job.
Yeah.
And I think that's to me like kind of the definition of what that means.
I tell you, where you guys have nailed it on that four corners piece, really makes our jobs as realtors so much easier, especially for like that out of state buyer. I mean, man, can you imagine how you feel finding a piece of land and you have a realtor, then you have an engineer, an architect, a builder, a designer. Those are 5 different entities where majority of the time you don't have one group like the 4C group that's managing and orchestrating all of that. That's the feel good that the clients.
Yeah. Who's leading that? Who's the captain? Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it becomes the agent, right? That becomes overwhelming for you guys because you're trying to help, you were typically a lot of those clients come through the real estate agents, right?
Correct, yeah.
They're out here, they fly in. And, that's one thing that we provide, and we try and provide a lot of value to agents, right? Because we can help pick up, in your terms, right? Pick up the football and help carry it to the finish line.
Yeah, exactly. You got to keep the chains moving,
Jonathan's got just classic.
Don't get into it.
Classic one-liners all the time. So I'm kind of, so I know we went a little bit. What's interesting? So you played football at the university from 97 or 96. So 96 to 99. Yeah. So I was getting my master's degree from 96 to 98. Oh, and I didn't at the University of Utah. I didn't go to one football game. I had no idea who you were. So so you're out. We're at the same school. You're out just loving it. I'm assuming, being the star quarterback for the Utes, and I'm just stuck up in the architecture building that, by the way, had no air conditioning, sweating to death. And you're out having fun. And
you walk to class uphill both ways. I walked
uphill both ways. It was always snowing, barefoot. But this is a really funny thing, because we had Paul Benson on last week, and we were talking about, we basically met, almost 14 years ago, and our lives are re-intersecting. I think it's kind of funny. You're not from Utah. I was raised in Salt Lake, but we were at the same institution, 20 plus years ago. And now all of a sudden we're
paths cross.
Paths cross again. And I just think that it's just super cool. And I think that's, one thing I'm trying to do with this podcast is I'm really trying to reach out to, and what's been super fun is reaching out to people, yourself, obviously we're good friends, but reaching out to people that I haven't talked for a while, but I've known, we've kind of intersected within the real estate industry, construction industry over the last 20 years in Park City, and then being able to bring them in here and kind of talk about how they've evolved in Park City and what they're doing, and seeing everybody's personal growth and where they've gone and like the things that are happening. It's amazing. To me, it's just amazing. And I feel like we're in a very special spot and time that I think we just need to look back and kind of say like, man, this is amazing what we're able to do and the projects we're able to work on. I mean, I know we're much more on the residential side. You're doing a much of commercial side, but just the quality of the people and the products, the developments, the lifestyle, the area is it's amazing.
I know this is like a podcast and all that, but I'm being honest when I say this. Park City's tough to beat. Like, I had a conversation with my wife just a few nights ago. We're thinking about, in the future, is Park City, is this where we want to stay? Maybe, maybe not. I think from our lens, we see so much growth for what we do for work.
Yeah.
That it is a little intimidating because we know too much. It seems like what's coming, all these massive developments that are coming in from all over the world, like some of these developers and architects as well. What's it going to look like in 10 years?
Yep.
Is it going to be the same? No. Today's different than yesterday. I mean, they're moving dirt. There's always fresh dirt, raw lumber going up somewhere. Good. That's bad, right? But Park City, the climate, the people, everything, it's really tough to beat. And I see this a lot where, what would you guess, Solom, from your clientele? How many homes are you doing the architecture and the build for and the design that it's their second, third, fourth home? How many of them are primary versus second? I'm curious to see what you say.
I mean, that's a great question. You don't always know. And I sometimes I don't even think the clients know, because I think what you see, and this is a 20-year evolution of doing this in Park City, is I would say everybody comes to say, hey, we want to do this project because in 5 years we're planning on and we're going to move here and maybe this is going to be our primary. I would say almost all of our clients, not all of them, but let's just say a high percentage of our clients have 2 homes. Some have 3 homes. I say a lot of clients have 2 homes, and I was actually thinking about what you're talking about, and what's been funny, this whole evolution of Park City over the last 20 years, and this is going to be interesting because we're going to have Ryan Karchner on another episode here later, where he talks a lot about what's happening, the evolution of golf in Park City, where Park City is a ski town. I should say was a ski town, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I grew up here, Park City was that, I mean, other than maybe a concert or something, you didn't really come up to Park City in the summer. And I think you've seen this whole thing where, this is probably a big realtor saying people come for the winters, but stay for the summers. But I think the whole evolution, I have a lot, I would almost say close to 50% of my clients, this is their summer home now.
Yeah.
So they have a house in Florida, Texas, right? And so they're in those destinations in the winter and they're here in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's almost become, what they got, like a snowbird destination in some ways.
It feels like they have like a timeline of what they anticipate, how much time they're going to spend. But I see that they're spending more and more time, and I'm actually seeing they're making Park City primary.
Yep.
And that was going to be my next question. Out of those that come in thinking it's going to be just the summer place, now it's, what are you doing here for 3 months now in the winter?
Yeah.
Oh, they're seeing the temperatures, and even in the winter here, it could be 20 degrees out, and most days are sunny, and it feels you can have a short sleeve shirt on. It's not, but the summers are really, really tough to beat. So
the summers are, I would say, there's almost not a better place to be than Park City in the summer. It's phenomenal. I would say the evolution of the golf ski, multi-generational community, this is kind of my world, the residential, which I know you've been involved in. You have Promontory, Glen Wild, Preserve, Tuhey, Victory Ranch, Red Ledges, Marcella's coming online. I don't know if I'm missing, but like all of that is just, all those developments are within 15 minutes of each other, and all the ski resorts. It's phenomenal.
And even more to your point, let's just start with the Salt Lake Airport. That's $5 billion. Put a tag on that. $5 billion. Let's start at the airport. Simple, clean, efficient. Then you get in your car and you're driving 40 minutes to Park City. Where else can you do that? And then let's add another one. Not one stoplight from the airport to Park City.
So that's from
you
my house.
Talk about a game changer.
Yeah.
That's what's bringing everyone. So you kind of have to back into identifying why they're coming. We already know all the big, nice developments, the weather, the skiing, and all that. It's really the functionality. You can't do that at Vail or Aspen.
No. And I love that stoplight thing, because I used to talk about it all the time, and I haven't talked about it, but literally from my house, I can leave and go to the airport, and I don't have to go through one stoplight. And it's about 22 minutes to the airport from my house. Yeah. So, I mean, it's amazing. So, all right, let's change a little bit here. So let's talk about those developments. I know you have some pretty new and exciting things happening. I don't know exactly what I can call them or say, but I'm just going to lay it out there. So there's a new development that I know you're working on. I think obviously it's the office in Christie's that's over in Midway, right? Next to Deer Valley.
Yep. That'll be releasing soon. That sits on 40 acres. There's only so much I can share right now, but come July 1st, we'll be ready. It'll be out. What I can share is we've got 39 acres on a on the corner parcel. Big visibility, a lot of traffic. It goes by. It's going to be a big destination. It's about an $800 million project. I foresee it taking anywhere from 5 to 10 years. I know it's kind of a big range, but you got to expect the unexpectables in development, especially with a development this size. This development will consist of a condo hotel as well. Okay. A condo hotel product.
So condo hotel.
Yeah. Residential. We'll have over 200 townhomes, condos. We have a significant size of retail space as well. 2 Michelin star restaurants are on the table right now, and a brewery.
Wow.
And a lot of amenities that the Wasatch Back has never seen before.
Yep.
And the really cool thing about this development, this will be my first time where we've got like a PR firm behind this. We've got large bank institution behind
Well,
this.
so I know we talked. So I know you went out to New York, right? And
Yeah.
I know you were talking to some
family offices,
big family offices. Like this
Yes.
was a big deal.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a really big deal, and it's going to be something, like I said, the Wasatch Back has never seen. It'll be up there on the luxury level with the Marcellas and the Four Seasons. It'll be a little more family oriented and family based, and we will be releasing a owner's circle, an investment opportunity as well for the development. That comes out July 1st as well.
okay, so that's so everybody hold up. July 1st.
Yes.
You should be hearing some big news from Jonathan Crosswhite.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so that's that one. The other one, I think we can talk about it,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So Skyfall, which you and I personally went up there, toured it off-road. Like, I mean, that thing blew my mind. So Skyfall sits between, the Marcella Jordanelle Ridge development, right?
Yeah.
There's Victory Ranch, right? Victory Ranch. Over the other side is the Heber Valley, and then some of that development at Benlock, right?
Yeah, we've got a total of 2,800 acres. Our lot lines border Jordanelle Ridge, Tiger Woods Course, believe it or not, Red Ledges as well,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
and Victory Ranch.
Okay.
It kind of sits in, it's named Skyfall, so it's up there. It's way up there. But it is like a little bowl, as you know. And what separates Skyfall, I believe, then from the promontories, the Jordanelle Ridge, the Victory Ranch is you're avoiding all that wind.
Yeah. We went up there and drove around for about 3 hours, and blew my mind.
And we only probably saw half of it.
Yeah. But so remind me again of the acreage. You said it's 22,000,
2,800.
acres.
Yep.
I know when we were up there, there's some 1 acre lots platted. There's already been a golf course designed
Yeah.
for it. There's like water, like trees, like you don't see in Park City.
Correct. The landscape, the topography is something you've never seen too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt like, I think you actually mentioned it when we were up there. It's interesting. We're so used to being, call it the valley here in Park City, but a certain mountain range that we're familiar with. Up at Skyfall, you're only seeing kind of the tops of like Timpanogos Range and Deer Valley and so forth. So it's a different view. It takes a little to get used to, but the topography and then the plant range and the vegetation up there is, I don't know if it's the altitude or whatnot, but there's a lot of cool stuff up there that you just don't really, it's tough to explain.
Yeah. And like you said, that project's very raw. Like it really reminded me. So I moved up to Park City in 2002-03. Promontory was already kind of going, but it reminds me of like probably what Promontory was in like 1995. Like I'm sure, or whenever that sort of vision came and like, hey, here's some dirt, like very raw. There's some roads cut up there, but man, like that development just it's like a blank slate. I'm so excited, hopefully, we'll be able
it's going to have a little bit of everything.
Yep.
Anywhere from 30, 35 acre ranch estates, 170 plus 1 acre lots. We've got 72 of those already platted, as you noticed. Still toying around with some of the amenities. I'm kind of like, I feel like we have enough of the gated private community stuff. I'm actually really thinking hard about a really nice public golf course. I catch myself so many times. You go to the Park City Muni.
Yeah.
Those are the best people to play with.
Yeah.
Now, I like to play with you at Promontory, but I only get to play with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like the golf community here has grown so much in the Wasatch Back that to have a place to go play together with everyone, kind of like a Pebble Beach, or we were just talking about another public, Abandoned Dunes. It could be that getaway weekend trip, that 4-day golf trip, family and friends, Everyone can play. And then obviously you have all the, different amenities and such that'll come out here. I'm hoping like September-ish, first part of September.
Okay.
The first version of the master plan.
Okay. And I know that's something we talked about. Like, I mean, I hope that becomes this ultimate collaboration experience because, man, we're all in on those.
The best part is we could start from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that one in the future. So those are two amazing developments. Obviously, the first one in Midway, that's happening pretty quick. Skyfall, maybe we'll start hearing about some stuff over the next year.
We have Mayflower Lofts also coming to market.
Okay.
Mayflower Lofts, it's right in between Marcella Mountain and Marcella Golf.
So what's the Mayflower Loft? So is that as just a similar flex space? What makes that unique?
We're on the hill. So we're on 9 acres on the hill. Our slope and grade is pretty significant, but we're having fun with that. We're fully permitted, by the way. It is 4,500 square feet. There's 25 townhomes, 3 buildings, 25 townhomes, delivering 4,500 square feet total. 3,000 of it is dedicated to residential living.
Okay.
Also adding
so fully permitted, no funny business,
shovel ready,
not an accessory living. It's
shovel ready.
Yeah, shovel.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, but explain the living component on that.
So we'll deliver out of the 4,500 square feet. 3,000 of it will be tagged as residential.
Okay.
Then there's a rooftop, 1,000 square foot rooftop deck as well, and 1,500 square feet of flex space.
Okay.
So I still have not. I'm still the Swiss Army knife.
You are the flex space
person
master.
Now, Mayflower Lofts is not like this here at a Park East 3. Its focal point is it's a residential community, residential living. We're bringing all the amenities into each property. No shared amenities. The amenities that I'm talking about is the rooftop deck and that 1,500 square feet with an oversized garage door. And elevations in that space, 15 feet. Great place for boat storage, car storage,
great
side by
location.
sides.
Yep.
The location's great. It's kind of like that pit stop between Marcella Mountain and Marcella Golf. Great place for out of town guests to stay. And that 1,500 square feet at the bottom lower level is technically zoned as commercial. So you could actually run a business out of there if you wanted. I don't think there's enough foot traffic to run any kind of retail out of there right now at this point.
Yeah, a little family business or home
maybe
office or
dog groomers or whatnot.
I mean, that project might be a little bit of a sleeper with all the action that you're seeing over there, right?
Yeah, well, I like the location because of the 2 800-pound gorillas that are on top of us and below us. We're right in the middle. What else I like about this development is the fact that if you look at all the developments right now, Mayflower Lakeside, Sage Hen, Hamlet Homes, Sky Ridge, not so much Sky Ridge, but those other smaller developments like Mayflower Lakeside, 400 doors. Okay?
Yeah.
And they're all built around this large body of water. Go look at the depths of those garages. You can't even park a Tahoe in them, let alone a boat. So why build all that product and around a large body of water
and not be able to park your boat?
Yeah, exactly. Or snowmobiles or side-by-sides, or you're at Marcella, you're an owner there. How many parking stalls do you get? What's your storage look like? Everyone has a need. I can't tell you how many times every June and every end of September, the flex space product, that's the hot season for it because people buy boats, RVs and snowmobiles and don't realize when they get to the gates at Promontory, they can't come through.
You can't come through,
Yeah. So
and nobody has a garage,
Yeah.
Unless you're building from scratch now,
Exactly.
which I think
So
people are getting a little more wise. And
Yeah.
That speaks to your point, like the evolution of Park City. I mean, you see all this product, this early developer product in Promontory, and they'll have these mini 2-car garages. You can barely park a car in your mountain bikes.
Yeah.
A lot of homes were designed now 4 and 5 car garages, which obviously helps with that. And, that was back to one of my questions is it doesn't seem like this I don't know if you want to call it flex space, live, work, play, but where do you still see that demand? Do you still see that demand to continue? Because it seems like, I mean, I know especially on the Park City side, those prices still continue to escalate for that product, right?
Correct.
For that resell, new build. I know there's still some value to be had over in the Heber side with that product.
Different animal, different counties, different cities, even though we're 15 minutes apart. It's a different buyer in Heber City than Park City. I would say Park City buyer is more of that impulse buyer, more cash buyers. Heber, you're finding more buyers getting loans, the plumbers, the framers, the electrician groups, the fence companies, real, like hardworking business owners in Heber.
That's more the Heber.
That's more of the Heber products. But with our product having over 40 plus permitted uses, it allows, like I said, there's not really anyone who can't find a good reason to work out of them, own in these developments and so forth. So, and then when it comes for resale value, I mean, think about it. Like the way how I explain our Flex product is not just the Swiss Army knife, but it's like the Delta Center. You got basketball tonight, and tomorrow night you have hockey.
Yep.
And you got to be able to switch. And that residential space in our Flex Space units could be future office space. That kitchen in the residential unit is now office break room space. That's the kind of pivoting that I'm talking about that our product offers. To answer your question as far as, is it still a hot commodity in the market? Yes. It is, because the zoning is getting a little tougher to get this type of product in. 40 plus uses permitted for one property is a lot. And it drives these cities and counties a little crazy. Luckily, I actually was able to participate in writing a lot of the code in Heber City and Wasatch County.
Zoning code.
Yeah. So when I do find a piece of land, I feel like I have a little bit of an edge before that meeting with the city or county, because I've got all the codes
you know what's happening there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of a loaded question. So it says, at what stage does collaboration with architects, interior designers, and builders like the 4C group add the most value? And I'm kind of trying to leading you into this warehouse lofts product that we're collaborating on it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought it up, because it's super important.
Yeah.
It's really easy for me to put stuff under contract. Getting people through the due diligence period into the settlement deadline is where you got to be really good. And when I say you got to be good, how you're good at that is by surrounding yourself with groups like 4C, where you got the built-in builder and architect and design group. I mean, that right there, like I said earlier, it takes such pressure off the realtor, especially for those out-of-state buyers as well. And I don't know if that answers your question, but I was going to go somewhere else with it. But
no, it's kind of a question that answers itself, I think. And I think the point of it is what we do here at the 4C group, what you guys do as real estate agents. I mean, as far as that collaboration goes, the best, to me, the way they answer that question is you bring us in from day one with the client, because we're there to help collaborate and facilitate, because there's certain things that you're an expert at, there's certain things we're an expert at, and we're just trying to find what's best for the client.
Yeah.
And so there's things that we know, there's things that obviously zoning, if entitlements, especially from that commercial side, all these things that, from a Park City agent, when you have somebody come in from out of town. But then, from our side, how's the sun go? Is a lot uphill or downhill? Is it flat? Where are the views? How big a house do you want? What's your, all these things that we can basically meet with that client in a 2 or 3 hour time frame. Hopefully they have a few properties identified, whether it's commercial or residential, and get them comfortable and get them in a direction so that when they leave, they feel confident with the team that they're putting together to move forward with those projects.
Yeah. Everyone's copying on every email. You've done this with me before, where Josh is copied, the design group's copied. You're obviously sending the email. The clients are copied. it's very streamlined, and it lends a lot of credibility and confidence to the buyer. No questions. It's been, how many times have I walked into your office, announced, unannounced, with a client, and the relationship that we have, it makes it easy for me to just walk into your office, and it gives the client ease. Like, I'm not taking them to the dentist, you know. This is a group that we work with day in and day out.
Yep.
And the size of your group too is comforting.
Yeah, the scale, and that's something we wanted to have redundancy. Hey, if some, you know, if you're a mom and pop shop and, you know, everybody says they get hit by the bus thing, what if you get the flu? What if you want to go on vacation? What if, you know, all these things, like, I think it's great. And we've built a whole team-based approach. So every project has a team. And so that team has depth to it. And so there's always somebody there that can help facilitate the project.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that, you know, you're also able to give, you know, all the people that work for you, you know, they can have a life as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know, I guess as a real estate agent, sometimes you feel like you're 24/7 on call, but that's just part of that lifestyle. And I think, you know, that's part of why you joined Christie's, the Christie's team. You know, your wife also is at Christie's as well, and that, you know, she has her own residential team. So I think seeing how you guys can pick up and you guys can cover each other has been,
it's been really good.
That helps survive that.
You know, I find myself working. I'm at the point now where I've got to make smart decisions of what I have room for and what I don't have room for, and having those relationships within our brokerage too. Being able to team up on things with people is huge, and it's no different than here. What we do is we team up on stuff.
And I think that's a great point, because I think as you want to grow as a person, as a professional, you speak to having an abundance mentality and not a scarcity, right?
Yeah.
There's enough for everybody. Oh. And so let's all enjoy it. Let's all collaborate. Let's work together and make it the best. And I feel like that's that, you know, I don't know what saying that is, but, you know, you can't get $1 if your hand's closed, right?
Yeah, and we're making those decisions not for us and our, you know, ease and all that. No, it's for the client.
It's 100%.
It's 100% for the client. It has to be, and because that client, you that's a relationship that should last forever if you're doing your job right.
Yep.
And if they're still around, it's because you've done your job right.
Yep.
And like with my stuff on the developments, I sell warm shells. Try that.
Yeah.
That's not easy. You know, you got to get past the fear of someone who doesn't have vision, someone who's intimidated by construction, unforeseen costs that could come up,
time, schedule,
not living here, not being here, watching the development as it goes. Those things this is what 4C and these real estate brokerages, it's really all in benefit for the client at the end of the day.
All right. So here's a question for you. With all that said, all your experience living the Park City lifestyle, what would your dream project look like? If you could do your dream project in Park City, what would it be?
Skyfall.
That's kind of my dream. That's kind of my dream project too. I kind of thought
it has everything. And I started to talk about all these gated communities and all that stuff with the same amenities and the same, you know, it's the same experience. Every development and community is different. I get that. But they have a lot of the same amenities. Skyfall is going to throw everyone for a curve.
It's pretty cool.
And it's going to have amenities, like I said, no one has seen. Same with the other development in Midway. But yeah, we need a little bit of a change, mix it up a bit. Not everyone just skis.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not everyone just golfs.
It is one of those things here, like you go around and not everybody's a skier, not everybody's a golfer. You know, there's something for everybody here, though, so it's great.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's a quick little lightning round questions for you. What would be your best dream home upgrade?
Ooh, that's a good one. I have one. I hope I can remember it because I was just talking about it. I like big garage.
Okay.
As far as amenities,
come on, best upgrade.
Are you delivering EV chargers in every garage?
That's your dream upgrade, is an EV charger?
No.
Maybe we should talk.
What's yours? Let me ask you. What is yours? What would be yours? And then maybe.
Let's talk about your house a little bit. So let's talk about this lawnmower that you just got and what you're doing in your backyard.
I can talk.
I think I would just expect you were just going to say. So Jonathan is. You call yourself a green thumb, right?
My dream job, if you were to ask me that question, it would be at Park City High School, and I'd be in charge of all the baseball fields, the football fields. I'd mow it, stripe it.
So you got a little Forrest Gump in you.
Oh, I've got a green thumb.
You just want to get on that mower and
you can thank my grandpa for that. He passed it down to me. He was a big green thumb. I love being in the yard. My grass is like my therapy.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
And I got a new lawnmower. It's called the California Trimmer. It's a reel mower. When I say that, it's REEL. It's on a reel.
So what we're talking about, so Jonathan's backyard, he lives over in Park Meadows, right? Park Meadows.
Yeah.
And he's basically created a fairway quality green, or would you even say a putting quality? Like it's kind of phenomenal what you've done.
That half inch.
Yeah.
And putting in 4 putting holes, a putting green in the back. Having a lot of fun with it. If there's a passion besides like kids and family.
Yeah.
For me personally, selfishly, it's my yard.
Yeah.
It's like I said, therapy.
So this kind of brings up a good point. This is something that, I think this little mini journey you and I have taken. So, we use 2 books within our business to help run it. We use Traction, which is a business operating system, which has been phenomenal, and then we also use 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, which is kind of a personal development. It's basically 7 principles. He says Stephen Covey would say he didn't invent them. They're just 7 principles, and one of them is at the end. I think it's actually going off memory here. I think it's a 7 habit, and it's called Sharpen the Saw, right? And it's really, this is my interpretation of it. I call it mind, body, soul, right? It's like, if you don't take care of, it's the golden goose, right? The goose that laid the golden egg thing, right? If you don't take care of the goose, you can't lay the golden egg, right? And so I think that's this journey. I think you started it. I mean, I think we all live a pretty healthy lifestyle, but I think this is where you kind of took it to this next level. And so it's this mind, body, soul. And I think it was probably about 2 years ago. I think it was like a New Year's resolution, basically. And I don't know the whole gist of it, but really,
January 1st.
Really, you kind of, and spiritual means something to everybody. It doesn't have to mean religious, but spiritual. I think you kind of took a little spiritual journey, right?
Yeah.
I think you've been working on the mind. We kind of talk about different books and reading and things like that. And then, the body, right? I think the body, I don't know what this goal, I think it was by 50 or something. Like, you want to just talk about that a little bit? And I kind of jumped on your bandwagon a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm glad he did, because we have a lot of fun in the mornings, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There is something to be said for like physical health and mental health.
Yep.
And when I was not in very good physical health.
I mean, people would say you were
with my background in sports. The last place I wanted to be when I retired was in a gym.
Yeah.
Because that's all I did from, junior high to till I was like 25.
Yeah.
And that's the last place I wanted to be. And it took me a long time. It took me a long time to get back into the gym. And what I realized and noticed is when you have a plan and you tell everybody about your plan.
Yeah.
And I don't like to tell everyone, but I forced myself to, so that I held myself accountable.
But create accountability, right?
Yeah. And then the next thing I did is, all right, how am I going to get up every morning? Like, how am I going to hold myself to this? I used to have to get up because I wanted to get better at something like football or whatnot. Now it's like, what am I getting up this early for and working out for? It took me a long time, too long to figure it out. Like, you only get one of these bodies. And you better take care of it. And we should take better care of it. And we take a lot of our health for granted. But there's something to be said for the physical health has totally helped my mental health.
No,
And yeah, so I did take a couple journeys. I've gone to all kind, like I met with a shaman at one point.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Changed my diet. I met with a dietitian, not really a dietitian. I just don't eat as much as I used to. And yeah, it's been fun. I haven't drank in 2 years.
You totally quit drinking.
Yeah. And that was kind of, I'd say the first year was challenging during the holiday period, like I'll tell you, it does feel a little different when you're used to socializing with someone.
Have a drink in your hand.
Have a drink in your hand, but I have a mocktail in my hand. No one knows. I don't care anyhow. But yeah, so yeah, good. It's helped mental health big time, and I'm glad I did it, and I'm not going to stop. Oh, and the other thing that I did to help hold myself accountable is I hired a trainer, and I prepay my trainer, as you know, ahead of time, because if I miss, I'm paying for it.
It's already paid for it.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss out or waste the money or whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of, I've kind of set myself
So you
up
kind of let
that
me
way.
jump on the bandwagon, which was awesome. So, I mean, basically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're at the gym, 7 a.m. and working out.
Yeah, it's fun.
Pumping some weights.
Yeah.
Clanging and banging.
Clanging and banging.
So I think I've been on for about a year with you.
You've been on a little longer.
Maybe a
than
little
that.
longer.
Yeah.
I don't still have the 6-pack, but I think that's
It'll
more-
come.
That's more diet. Yours came pretty quick. I don't know, like.
Yeah, I ate the same thing for the first 3 months when I started this, and yeah.
But anyway, I think that's been a fun experience, and I agree with you. Like in doing that physical activity, like I come up with this clears your brain, right? And you think so much better. Like I do a lot of my best work that 2-3 hours after workout.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I always say the first 3 hours of every morning are the best 3 hours of the day.
Yep, and I sometimes I need to take a nap now because I'm kind of worked. But what's great is that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday hitting the gym. Now I'm up early because my body gets up on Tuesday. We get up every day, but Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm really just up out of the gate. And I would say that first 3 hours, from say 5:45 ish, man, I am just going and I'm thinking and I'm getting my best, kind of creative work
ideas
done.
and such.
Yeah, and write that down. So that's been a game changer for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I would say more, it was kind of an ego thing because I was like, yeah, I work out with an ex-NFL football player. That's just what I do. Not even. So let's see here. So let's kind of wrap it up here, but I got a couple of final questions. So these are advice questions. So advice to 4C. This is what advice would you give to 4C? From an agent's point of view, what should we be doing to create a luxury experience for our clients? What could you see from your eyes as an agent that the 4C group could be doing better?
I don't know if I have anything to share on that other than you guys are running at a good clip right now. And this is where you see organizations either grow too fast, too big, or they just can't find that zone, that gear where it's just right. It's easy to like add another group or another department and whatnot. You got to remember too, the nice thing about 4C today is everyone's accessible. Mm-hmm. Everyone has a phone number. You're talking to someone when you call them. You're not that, like Apple, and you're calling the headquarters. We don't have like your personal attention that you give us and the rest of the market speaks volumes. But be careful, you can lose that personal interaction if you get too big. But as far as like I haven't, every time I come in here, I learn something new.
Yeah.
And it's just probably because I'm I'm with builders, engineers, and architects. So
you kind of have a key to the building. It seems like you just kind of come in whenever you feel like it. I'm like, oh, there's, people are like, who's that guy walking around? I'm like, that's Jonathan. He's okay.
Yeah,
but you're always kind of collaborating. You're always bringing people
you know,
in.
it's like I've got to be able to walk around this whole development. Yes, we've had heartburn at times. We have been late in delivery at times. We've had our issues. Who doesn't? Who doesn't have issues, right? But I have to be able to walk around after selling 60 plus units here. I got to be able to walk around for resales and with new buyers and such, and say hi to the Solums and the Joshes and the Mike Convilles, and you know, as you're walking through the park, you know, everyone, that would not be a very good thing if I had some unhappy owners here, and so I take pride in that.
No, I think I see that. I mean, you're here, you walk around. I think anybody at any time will let you into their unit to show it. I've never seen, you know, any heartburn like that. So that's you know, credit to you and
it's not a perfect world here, but
no, you can't make everybody happy all the time.
Yeah,
we know that, but we do. I think you do a good job at it. Okay,
thanks.
so another advice. So advice. What advice would you give to a young person or somebody new in the industry wanting to make a career in real estate development or become a commercial agent?
Well, first, hang around people that are smarter than you.
That's easy for you, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, nice one. That was a nice one. Always be learning. I mean, you gotta I have fun at my job.
No, I
really do.
I think we both have a good time,
and we're lucky for that because not everyone has fun at what they do for work. But when you're starting early, young person like that, man, I would just be in everyone's office and constantly ask questions.
Yep.
I always was used to be made fun of in grade school, junior high, because I always asked so many questions. But I didn't think I was asking a lot of questions, but what I was doing, I was just learning. I didn't know. That's why I was asking, you know. Social skills would be my second thing that I would recommend, because not everyone's cut out for sales.
And
sales can
tough.
be gnarly on people. Yep. I mean, it's a grind, and you got to have thick skin. You've got to, you know, not care what people think of you and so forth. There's a lot of realtor jokes out there, and architects jokes.
More real estate agent jokes, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Real estate and lawyer jokes, probably.
Yeah.
I feel like architects, we kind of get elevated to the top of that professional.
You guys are like gynecologists. You drive that.
I don't even want to know what that means.
You drive that silver A6 Audi. It's 10 years old, and I don't go to the same place to work every day.
I don't know where you're going with that, but
they do.
They do. Okay, that's a good one. So, I mean,
but social skills. I think, and even in our curriculum at school and stuff. Do you ever get some of these people who are like, that person is so socially awkward? What? And you see more and more of it today. I don't know if as a society, we're diagnosing more things or whatnot, but social skills are so important, and you have to be able to, young kids have to be able to talk to older people. Yep. I've realized in my career, and I don't know about you, but I'll be 50 this year, and I've noticed that people listen to me a little bit more probably because I'm older.
Because your hair's gray.
But
that's called gray hair.
Yeah, exactly. And those are good things for gray hair. Right?
Yeah, that's one of the good things.
In my career, though, for what I'm doing, just call it sales, I feel like I get a little more respect because I'm older. But in my earlier career, when I was younger, I could kind of see he's a great kid, but he seems to know, but I don't know. I kind of like that 50-year-old more than the 32-year-old.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat experience, right?
And I think age obviously lends experience maybe. But social skills, it should be in. There's just too many awkward people out there that can't socialize and carry on a conversation with a stranger. You need to be able to do that in this job.
Yep, I agree 100%.
And it's all walks of life. If it's the garbage man, my garbage man at our house, his name is Fred. And I take time to learn his name and talk to him and see what's going on and whatever, you know, but I'm not trying to sell him anything. It's just socializing with anyone and everyone.
Yep.
So
I think that's just part of, trying to sharpen that saw, like we say.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing too, I think in sales, I've learned this later in my career, would be if you're going to sell something, you got to have it. You got to be able to say it within 90 seconds.
Elevator pitch.
Yeah, you have to. You have to have a 90-second pitch because no one wants to hear everything you're saying. That's kind of why I was telling you earlier. I'm like, what's more important? People understanding what you're saying and liking what you're saying, or how they feel after you've met with them. I think I'm leaning more on, I hope they felt good about that meeting. I hope they trust me. I hope that I built some confidence in them.
Yep.
I hope they feel like they're working with the right person.
I think
because anyone can say anything.
Yeah, I think that comes from sewing with conviction.
And maybe there's social skills right there.
Yep. To me, all about that process is having conviction behind what you do. And, part of that is the gray hair. It's, having the history, the passion, the conviction behind it. To me, that's, and being a true professional.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
And wanting to get better and be a better person. You
Yeah.
know, like how can I be a better version?
Yeah. Like your little,
like working
our
out
little journey, right?
Yeah,
We're trying to be better.
Yeah. Everyone's doing it. There's a lot of lip service out there. I'm probably some of the lip service, but I try to back up.
Hey, well, I think we got some accountability in our little workout session. So
Yeah.
I haven't missed, other than, if I'm on a vacation or whatever, but I've never slept in or been sick.
Yeah. And we kind of hold each other accountable too.
Yeah. It's been good. So
yeah, it's been great.
Well, I think that kind of wraps it up. Thanks, Jonathan,
this
for
has been fun.
joining.
Thanks for
It's always great, having, these Park City guests on that, really understand what the Park City lifestyle is about and care about it and care about the community. I've always wanted to say this, but I will put Jonathan's contact information in the comments on the podcast. So if you have any, interest in getting a hold of Jonathan and talking about commercial developments or real estate in general, I'm sure he's more than willing to answer questions. And if you want to swing, if interested, you want to swing by the 4C Collaboration Center, you can visit us on our website. All that information will be in the comments below as well. So thanks for another episode at the, they're going to be up top. I'm being told the comments are actually up top. I don't know what you're saying, but anyway, thanks for joining, and join us again for next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
Oh,
Like and subscribe.
why do you just use that creepy voice on the microphone? Why do you put on that creepy voice?
These things are awesome.
Right?
Yeah. It takes a minute to get used
It
to
makes
it.
you focus in on the...
Yeah, it does.
Like if we were
At
to
first,
hear-
I was thinking, God, this is going to be
No, it's
weird.
cool,
But
right?
then
I think
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Oh, why do you... You should have said... You should have like...
Did you hear that?